I made it. Not only did I make it, but we are at the right settings. um, I'm early. I'm a couple seconds early because I was worried that YouTube was going to make it wonky again and not let me go live horizontally so you can see all the awesomeness that I'm doing tonight. So I'll give you guys a couple seconds to join me, and I'm going to grab my coffee real quick. Drinking some iced coffee because that's what I do in the evening time sometimes, especially when I'm live. For those of you that are just joining me, welcome. And for those of you that join me regularly, welcome back. Esther's daughter, thank you and welcome back. On my days that I have a live video, not only did I usually work from like 5 a.m. to 4 p.m., then I go live at 5, and then I got to do the prep work for tomorrow. So Wednesdays and Thursdays are my longer day. I don't usually drink coffee this late in the day, except for days where I'm working much, much later. Sometimes I'm even drinking tea. But not today. Hey, Natasha. Hey, Jenny. Thanks for joining me. So tonight I'm going to talk about refrigerator pickles from your garden. Now, you might be asking yourself, first let me get started. In the description section of this video, you'll find a link to my comprehensive planting guide, the link to Mary's Heirloom seeds, my different social medias, as well as a much, much older recipe I have for making refrigerator pickles using apple cider vinegar. You can definitely use refrigerator pickles and apple cider vinegar. I'm going to give you a different recipe today. Now, before I get started on all this deliciousness, I want to clarify something. Refrigerator pickles are absolutely different than canning. Now, for those of you that might be a little more nervous to try something new, hey Denise, thanks for joining me. Maybe you're a little intimidated by canning, and so you want to try something in the beginning that you can, it's almost like you can't fail. I'm telling you this right now. If you follow these very simple steps, you don't even need fancy, expensive equipment. You don't need any canning experience to make refrigerator pickles. I have yet to meet a pickle that I didn't like. Now, I didn't grow up eating a lot of random types of pickles, but my granny always had pickles in her refrigerator because I would literally walk in the door, give her a kiss on the cheek, and head to the refrigerator and eat a pickle. She always had like 4 different varieties of pickles for me to choose from. So maybe that's where some of this came from. I love eating pickles. I love making pickles. I love growing stuff for pickles. So today I have 2 options for pickles because that's just what I have growing in my garden right now, and that is carrots and radish. Now I want to share with you the basics. If you're one of those people that needs all the information in 4 minutes, my live videos are probably not for you because I do try to share all the information. I also try to answer your questions. So if you have questions, hey Asia Joe in our treasured home, thanks for joining me. Denise Smith is my mom, so she knows I have loved pickles from a very young age. So refrigerator pickles don't require any canning materials, but they have to be refrigerated as the name suggests. Now, what is the difference between making canned pickles and refrigerator pickles? Now, pickles are acidic with the brine that you make, so they can be canned using water bath canning, and I'm not going to share that information with you today. We're going to talk about refrigerator pickles. For my tools, I'm going to tell you what I need. Now, I have this pot of pre-made brine, and I'll share with you the recipe in just a second. Hey Jeffrey, thanks for joining me. So I have a pot with a lid, and that has my brine in it, and I'll share with you what the recipe is later. I also have jars. These are recycled jars. The difference between using water bath canning and refrigerator canning is you can pretty much use any recycled jar that you have for refrigerator pickles. It just depends on how much you're actually going to pickle. Hey Michelle, thanks for joining me. Now I also have vegetables. I have radish. Ooh, that one is not going to go in my canning. I have radish and I have carrots. Today I'm going to share with you radish and carrots pickling. This is kind of funny. I sent this to my sister the other day, or actually I sent this to my sister and my mom. This is super fun and a weird carrot. And my mom asked, is this what happens when you put more than one carrot seed in a hole? No, this is actually happens when you have soil that has bulky or rocky stuff inside, and so the carrot root is growing down, and then it hits some sort of barrier, something that stops it, so it grows out and grows around it. I love that carrots are so resilient. They hit a barrier and they're like, okay, I can either grow round or out, and that's what we're gonna do. Natasha says, I've always been pickle obsessed too, looking forward to learning to do these. Awesome. Well, I'm going to actually make refrigerator pickles today. Super easy, super simple. Yes, this video is going to be significantly longer than if you were just doing it yourself, but at least now you'll have answers, questions, and fun carrots to use in your garden. All right, so today I'm using a recipe from the ball pickling salt. This is one that I've used regularly. It's not specifically like you have to use the ball recipe. There are tons of recipes online that you can use. The brine recipe for refrigerator pickles is the exact same as if you were using it to water bath can to store long term. Now again, the difference is when you water bath can your pickles, they are shelf stable. When you use a refrigerator pickle, it just means you are adding the brine to your jar and you're putting it in the refrigerator. You want to leave it for about 2 days before you actually start eating it. And usually it's good to eat it within about 4 weeks. Some people say 2 weeks, some people say 4. Some people say, hey, it's shelf stable because it's in the refrigerator. So use your own discretion on how quickly you consume it. I tend to wait 3 days, so I have a really good pickly fruit and I eat it fairly quickly. I went through a jar of dilly beans in like 4 days, maybe 3 days. And that was actually one that I canned last year from my jade bush beans. So they were shelf stable and I used my last jar this week. So sad. I can't wait for more pickles. So let's get to the recipe. I'm actually going to just read this from the packaging. So I have my brine that I've already done. I have my jars that are already ready. I have my veggies that have been scrubbed very well. I want to make sure that there's no dirt on them. And then I have the ingredients for my recipe. I don't actually usually keep sugar in the house, but my mom was here last year and she doesn't use honey. She uses sugar. So I bought some sugar. So she had some, which worked out perfect because this recipe calls for sugar. Now, the ball recipe for kosher dill spears is pickling cucumbers. I'm not going to use that because I got my own veggies here. And the ingredients for the brine are 2.5 cups of water, 2 cups of white vinegar with a 5% acidity. Remember, you want to make sure you have the right acidity. Some vinegars are 3%, some vinegars are 5%. If you're going to be canning them, you want 5%. If you're doing the refrigerator, you can do 3 or 5. I have 5 because I also water bath can pickles as well. So this is, like I said, 2.5 cups of water, 2 cups of white vinegar, 1/4 cup of sugar, and 1/4 cup of ball salt for pickling and preserving. Now, that is your brine recipe. I doubled it because who knows what I'm going to pickle tonight. There's a lot that's going to get pickled tonight. I've got onions. I'll tell you about all the different things you can pickle as well. But for now, for this video, I have radish and carrots. Now, there's additions that you can add to your jars. You can add dill. I've got some dill. You can add cayenne pepper flakes, or you can add jalapenos if you want to make it a little on the spicier side. You can use mustard seeds. You can use bay leaves. I already mentioned garlic, but I actually pickle garlic, so that's a whole nother story. So that's another option for you. And Ball makes something called a crisp to make it your water bath can stuff more crispy. I don't really use it. But again, I'm using this recipe just as a base tonight for my refrigerator pickles. Now, to cut down on time, I already chopped some of my radishes so I can make it easier to just show you this is what I did. And now I'm going to grab those. So I have a small jar. How cute! And I already added the dill to it. Hey, Jersey, thanks for joining us. So this is just a red radish. I believe this was a smaller Cincinnati long radish. So you'll see that the carrots are on the smaller side. Some of them are smaller, some of them are larger, and that's because I'm thinning beds, and I'm also removing some from beds because I'm ready to plant other stuff in that garden bed. Now on this one, I have daikon on the bottom, and I have Cincinnati on the top. These are just amazing. Pickled garlic is really good. I have a video that is a live video in this kitchen, and it's all about preserving garlic. So I shared with you guys different ways that you can preserve your garlic. Garlic doesn't actually pickle like you would think a regular pickle would be, but it is a way of preserving it. I put it in the refrigerator, so that's a way that you can use that. I prefer to actually freeze my garlic instead of pickling it because it doesn't really pickle very well. And actually it can turn blue, which is kind of fun as well. Just check that out as well. So now you have your jars. You can either put dill, you can put spicy stuff. It totally depends on what you're looking for in a pickle. And this is totally up to you because this is going in the refrigerator. You don't have to worry about what ingredients in your jars will be shelf stable. I also don't have to worry about reusing lids because when you are preserving for long-term canning them, you want to make sure that you have fresh lids, that your lids are good quality, that they all snap and pop. But using a refrigerator pickle recipe, you can use any jar. So these are recycled, rinsed out pasta sauce jars. I don't think I ever get rid of these things. I literally just wash them and put pretty much anything I want to save food-wise, whether it's reusing or storing either dry pasta or cooked pasta, or I mean, the sky's the limit. These are especially great to save your bean seeds. So if you grow your own dry beans and you let them dry out completely, you can use these to save and store your beans. So I don't throw pretty much any of these jars away. I'm not a glass jar hoarder, I promise, but I do like to save these so that I've got them for later. Now, what I can do here is, because I already have my jars ready to go, this is going to be a little different because it's hard to have you guys right here while I'm moving back and forth, and it's not like I have a cameraman to be like moving it in and out, but I will try to get a little closer. So I couldn't find my stainless steel funnel. I prefer my stainless steel funnel. It's probably in the bottom drawer and I just didn't see it. So I found this one. This one came with one of the kits that I bought ages ago. But I prefer a stainless steel if I possibly can, but we're gonna use the plastic one for now. I like this. You wanna make sure that it's, I will say it is so much easier to use if you have a funnel because you are going to take your veggies, whatever it is that you're going to pickle, and you want to put this in there so that it's not going to splash all over the place. Sometimes it's best to have heated jars. What I do usually is I put the jar in hot water and I let it sit for a couple minutes before I pack it and before I add my brine. That way I'm not adding hot brine to a cold jar and then it breaks and then you're not super stoked because your jar has broken. So I'm gonna go over here to my kitchen stove. I'm gonna put this on the stove because I don't want my hand here while I am adding brine to it. So my brine is already ready to go. I did this ahead of time so I didn't have to worry about it. And I did forget to put some dill in it, so I'm gonna put my hands in here. I don't usually do that, but you know, I don't have a scooper, so here we go. And now I'm gonna ladle my hot brine into the pickles. I should say into the radish. A little bit more. Now when you're if you're familiar with canning, you probably know that you want to make sure you give it a little more headspace. So if you were going to process it in a water bath canner, you'd want to make sure that you gave it a little extra space. It's called headspace. I don't worry about that when I'm doing refrigerator pickles because I don't can these. These are going in the refrigerator. So now what I want to do is find my lid. That is a wide mouth lid. I literally have a kitchen drawer full of different types of lids. So I'm going to take my original lid that goes on it. I'm going to close that up. It's a little warm. It's not super hot, so I'm not really going to worry about it too much. It's that easy. So this entire process can take about 5 minutes. The only thing that takes the longest is, well, you can put all your ingredients in your pan, heat it up while you are at the sink, washing everything off, chop them, and then you're done. So what probably takes the longest is your brine to heat up, and then you put it all together. How cool is that? Yes, Esther's daughter, it is easy. Yes, it looks easy, but it is absolutely easy. The reason I wanted to do this video today is because there's a lot of people that are brand new to gardening, or you've been growing, but you're newer to food storage. And pickling is the most easiest, and not everybody is comfortable doing a canning pickle. So this is a way that you can make your own pickles, have something to share with your family, with your friends, that doesn't require pretty much anything. You can use stuff that you already have in your kitchen to make refrigerator pickles. Now this is hot. I'm going to let it sit here for a second. I will want to add a little disclaimer. There are rebel canners. I applaud you. You can do your thing. That's totally fine. If this thing pops and that lid goes down, that is not shelf stable. I will still put this in the refrigerator. Yes, I am a mostly feral gardener, but I am not a feral canner. I know there are people out there that do things differently, and I'm not going to bash anybody at all that does things differently, but I do want to clarify that for anybody that might be new to canning. Just because that lid pops and it looks like it's sealed, it is not properly sealed the way a safe canning would be. So I want to share that with you, the difference between refrigerator canning or refrigerator pickles and canning your pickles is these are not shelf stable. This will go in the refrigerator. Now, last but certainly not least is what can you pickle? The sky's kind of the limit on the pickles. Green beans are my favorite. I make dilly beans. They are delicious. I put hot peppers in there. I put garlic in there and my homegrown beans, and they are fantastic. Carrots are the next one. So I'm going to do that real quick while I have you here. I'm going to take all the small ones. I have a bunch of small carrots here. These were ones that I just pulled out. And you know what? I didn't even pull out their tails. So Esther's daughter says if you water bath can them, they would be shelf stable. If you used a verified recipe, if you followed proper canning instructions, if you used quality stuff that actually seals, yes, they would be shelf stable. What I'm talking about today is refrigerator pickles because it's easy and I don't have to worry about doing the actual canning part of it. I do can on a regular basis during the summertime, just not today. Today I'm going to share with you how I'm going to use the refrigerator pickles. So these are going to be all the small carrots. I didn't take the tops off. I didn't take the bottoms off. I just grabbed a bunch of small carrots. I'm going to break this now. Another one. Another one. So there's my carrots. These are going to be another fun addition to my refrigerators. I am super excited about carrots because I love carrots. My husband does not eat carrots. And so I grew a bunch of carrots this year because I was like, hey, I really need carrots. I love them. And then he doesn't like them. Now, I did ask him the other day. I said, if I put brown sugar and butter in it and I cooked it, would you eat it? And he goes, maybe. Jeffrey says, do you use the same brine and technique for your okra? Yes, sir, I do. So I use the same exact brine for my okra. And if I'm going to refrigerator pickle them, I just put them in the refrigerator. If I'm not going to put them in the refrigerator, I will process them in a water bath canner. Sean says, how can pickles be red? Excellent question. First, before I do that, let me just add this here. I got my lid, or my funnel. I'm going to put this on my stove so that I'm not touching it. And I'm going to answer Sean's question in just a second. That is an excellent question, by the way. So because I didn't totally fill this jar, it's going to take a lot more brine than it would if I had filled it up. But I kind of want the look of the whole carrots. So I'm going to leave that here in a second. All right, so why are pickles red? Or how can pickles be red? So that's a great question. There's two answers to that. The first answer is if you are pickling beets or something very red, then you will have a naturally red pickle. Some people will take the juice from pickled beets and then they will add something to it like they'll take the brine and they'll put eggs in it. And then the outside of the egg will be pink. And then you have a pink egg that has been pickled but not shelf stable. The other alternative is going to be food coloring, and I don't recommend it. So hang on just a second. I have an orange cat chasing around the radish that I dropped on the ground. Here you go, Max. You ready? I'll let him have that one since it fell on the ground. And I have lots of radishes left. So next on my list is beets. Beets are an excellent option for canning. You can pickle them. You can refrigerator pickle them. You can long-term storage pickle them. So it just depends on your processing. Cauliflower, cucumbers. Cucumbers pickled are pickles. White onions, red onions, watermelon rinds. Now that is something I have not tried yet, but I will be trying this year. I am going to be growing some watermelons in my garden, and I will be processing them in a water bath canner to make watermelon rind pickles. Now I do want to say this, which has nothing to do with pickling. These greenery here, this is the radish and carrot greenery. I'm going to eat those. Those are either going to go into sauces, they're going to be frozen, or they're going to go sauteed in a stir fry, because the greens are edible. You can actually make pesto out of the carrot tops as well, which is kind of fun. And I also learned that carrot tops are non-toxic to cats in small amounts, as long as it is a domesticated carrot and not a wild carrot. Something to think about. Jicama can be pickled. Beets, I already mentioned. Garlic, I already mentioned. Asparagus. If you like to grow asparagus, you can actually pickle asparagus. Ginger, I love pickled ginger. I have bought it from the store, but I've never pickled it myself, so I will be using that as well. Asia Joe says, side note, thanks Mary for all your info being on the blog to refer back to. Absolutely. So some of the information that I share with you is available on my website. You go to marysheirloomseeds.com, and then you go to Mary's blog. And a lot of this information, growing information, is already there. Cabbage can be pickled. Radish, we just did it. Eggs, I mentioned eggs. So when you have pickled beets and you have that red left over, that's what I mentioned. You can put your eggs in there, put them in the refrigerator, and now you have pickled pink eggs. Anita says, hey there, Mary, we'll do these pickles. They are delicious. I love refrigerator pickles. Literally 10 minutes in the garden, 10 minutes in the kitchen. Took me a lot longer in the garden, I'll tell you that much. 10 minutes in the kitchen, 3 days in the refrigerator, hands off, and then now I've got pickles. I will have a refrigerator full of pickles as soon as I can get these done. Alrighty, everybody, so that is my video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I do appreciate that you went that you came live with me here tonight. If you are on Facebook, I try to go live on Facebook every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central Time, and that specifically is where I share different varieties of heirloom seeds that maybe you have tried or haven't tried, or maybe you want to try. And then Thursdays are usually garden-specific topic. Today I wanted to be in the kitchen because I had a massive amount, well, I still do, have a massive amount of carrots and radishes that I want to process because I need that space for my summer crops. So I'm pulling those out. I've got a refrigerator, or a sink full here of stuff that still needs to be washed off so that I can make more pickles. And I will share some pictures with you in the next couple days, both on YouTube and Facebook, so that you can see the results of this delicious pickled veggies. I am Mary from Mary's Heirloom Seeds. If you have questions, please send me an email to mary@marysheirloomseeds.com and I will answer. Comment below if you've got any other questions. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. This is such an easy thing to do for you to be able to preserve your your harvest. I mean, maybe you're growing too much, or there's never too much. Maybe you grew more than you could consume at one time and you're wondering what to do with it. And refrigerator pickles is a very easy way to preserve your harvest. Thank you very much for joining me. I am Mary from Mary's Heirloom Seeds, signing off, and happy pickling.